Hello, operators. Welcome back. I am Leonidas. This is Nucleares, version 2.0, patch 178, and today I wanted to demonstrate a reactor restart. To set you up where we're at, I have one loop, no chemicals, and I basically, this is just a new game. I started it up, ran for an hour or two, and now I'm shutting down as though we're a maintenance shutdown. And the reason why we're starting here is because the shutdown has something to do with the restart. How to get everything where you need it. So right now I have put my rods at 100. I have my primary circuit at 25. Bypass is set to 100 so that I can shut down my turbine, which it is. I have my MSAV set to 100 because I don't need to run my turbines. We are currently cooling our secondary loop by setting the speed to 25. Our condenser loop, it's kind of arbitrary. We'll just, I guess, set that a little higher to cool it down. And what I'm doing here is I need to, for the way that I run my reactor and my system of starting up, I need a lot of coolant volume in my steam generator. So that's what's going on here is as this cools down, my secondary pump is running to fill this. And I shut it off at about 47 if I'm at 25%. If I am running higher than that, I'll need to turn it off earlier. But at about 47, I turn this off because I wanted to get to 50,000. Because when I start, I burn about 35,000 liters on my first startup. It's a little bit different doing a restart. I won't use as much, but I wanted to demonstrate what that looks like. So it really helps if you can do the start up. I'm sorry, the shut down and prepare yourself for the start up rather than having to fix things later. So I'm going to go triple speed, and this is what I'm keeping an eye on now is my steam generator. Everything else is set. I'm below, not quite to 100 yet. This is coming down, and that temperature is dictated a bit by this temperature as well, which is taking its sweet time and coming down. And we may actually have to speed things up a little bit more. So let's actually try, I don't know, maybe 50 here. I haven't planned this out ahead of time. I hadn't, or not planned it out. I haven't practiced this ahead of time. That's the word I was looking for. So, because again, I like to show you as I'm figuring it out, using concepts as opposed to trying it a bunch of times so I get it absolutely perfect just to look good for you all in YouTube land. So, we are, by increasing the speed here though, all that heat then comes down here and looks like it's not affecting it too much, which is good. We're getting close to where I want to shut it off here, but we still have a little ways to go. We're at 42. Pressure is dropping, and again, as this cools, all the steam in the system is going to condense back into water wherever it is, inside the steam generator, inside the pipes, inside the turbine, and this level will continue to rise. Right now what's happening is I'm pulling water from the condenser pool and dumping it into my steam generator coolant pool. So if I look here, this number continues to, should be going down. Yes, it is. So we're getting close here to where I want to turn it off. And again, that's setting it up for where I'll be at next, for the next startup. And I'm actually going to turn off at 46 this time, because the reason for that is I'm going to give myself an extra 1,000 for the steam to continue to what's the word, for the steam to continue to condense back into water and leave a little extra room for myself so I don't go too far over the 50,000 mark. So this is coming down. We're below 100 now, and I can turn off my pressurizers if I wanted to. I'll leave them on because I'm going to restart here in just a second. So I'll probably go triple speed. And I'm basically shut down, just letting things cool off at this point. And we'll just watch and see where we end up. Welcome back. So if you look, my steam generator stopped at about 50,736. So I went a little over. I suppose I could have stopped it earlier at, say, 45. But I'm okay with this. I forgot to turn on my condenser pump a little earlier, which may have continued that up going. But anyway, I wanted to get this to 50,000. So at this point, I could drain my external volume and do the maintenance, any core maintenance I needed to, fill it back up, do whatever maintenance is needed, add upgrades, install, anyway, all sorts of things, fuel if we needed to, if it was spent under 178. In order to extract fuel, you need to have the fuel below a certain temperature, which I'm well below that temperature. It's green, but it also needs to be spent, meaning 10% of its fizzle left. And the easiest way to determine that is by looking at your thermal factor. That value of 0.99 means I have 99% of my fuel remaining. I won't be able to extract it until it's at about 0.1. This is just a rough estimate, so it might be a little more, a little less than the thermal factor, but that's a good measure. And I think if I spam this, I think AO will give me a warning. He's supposed to. I've never been able to get AO to give me these warnings. Yeah, I guess my AO is broken. Supposedly when you turn on... Oh, maybe because he's off. Alright, yeah, I didn't like all the doors open and closing. But anyway, okay, so now let's pretend that we just finished all of our maintenance. We're ready to restart. And I kind of follow the exact same method of a new startup from a new plant, except that things just go a lot faster. So let's go ahead and get that going now. So we will switch back to back to nominal mode.
Operating mode established. Nominal mode.
I'm going to request my startup from the city early because this is going to go way faster. So we'll go ahead and turn on. Oh, I never shut off my pump speed, my primary pump. Well, we'll pretend that we did. We'll lower that to 15. I'll give that a second to come down. If you had your pressurizers off, this would be the time to turn them on. Let that one come down. Excellent. We'll turn on our condenser to, I don't know, 5. Which will actually be plenty, but we'll just leave it at 5. Usually 1 or 2 is where I put mine. And we'll go ahead and start pulling rods. We'll just go to, let's say, 90. Let's go 93. Now again, the way that I do my, I guess I should actually follow my checklist. Make sure my MSCV is at 0. My bypass is at 0. Resistor banks are on. And with my high pressure startup, what I do is I'm relying on the pressure of my steam generator, not the temperature. So in order to do that, as we bring down the heat to the system, the water starts. This is going to be loud. As it brings it down.
And its status has changed to reactive.
So rude. As we bring the heat down and water begins to boil, once this gets above 100, this will start to, or the water here will start to boil, will create pressure. I want this at 0 so that pressure builds. Once it's at 60 bar, then I open it and send it on down to my turbine. Also note that these bypass take a lot longer to move. I think the only one that's slower than this might be the secondary pump speed at ramping up or ramping down, but anyway. So we'll go ahead and go triple speed for a little bit. The temperature comes up. We're now making steam, so this is dropping and this is rising as expected. I'm aiming for 300. That's just the temperature that I like. That works better with chemicals. I might actually go a little higher with no chemicals. Maybe we'll go up to 320 maybe. This is just an alarm you get for being on external power. It happens. This is like the 5th time this game that I've had it happen. The power blips. You'll notice this went down. This drops to 0 and then comes back up. It's almost like, I don't know, it's just programmed that way to where external power isn't enough to power everything. So it just drops for a minute in random components. Except for it's not random. It's always condenser, and then I often get it in my secondary steam generator too. It goes away once you're on internal power. But back to that. Let's check our... Okay, so we're almost at that magic 60 number. 1 speed should be there. Close enough. We'll go 5. Hit slow for 25. And did you hear that? Did you hear that turbine start up right away? That's the thing. It's fast. It's really fast. And I said we're aiming for about 320, so we'll let that continue to rise. And now we just write it out. And this is how you restart your reactor. Everything just goes quicker. Depending on how long you were shut down, when you shut down your pumps, when you shut down your condenser pumps, or your secondary and your condenser pumps, your temperature might even stay high. If you close off your MSCV, close off your bypass early, you can keep this temperature up at don't know, just under 100, 90 degrees, and everything will sit there, and then your startup is even faster. Oh, did I let it go? I did. So I set, yeah. I set an artificial alarm to warn me when the temperature gets too high. I think I set it at 325, and now I've let it go too far. I wanted to catch it a little earlier before it got there, but that's okay. They should start coming down rapidly, and so I don't kind of yo-yo the temperature. I'll watch it for a minute because I know that it's still going over there. So to stop that, we'll come back to, let's see what 93 does for us. Can we hold at 93? Is that gonna? Yeah, it's still coming down a little bit quick, so we might add, or take out maybe one more. I mean, 321 is pretty close to that 320 goal I was looking for. Okay, so we'll just watch this. And anyway, we don't need to belabor this. You know how this part works. We just keep running. The startup is normal. Adjust once we're delivering power to the city. Again, make sure that our circuit is open. Do not close it until you're at 360. Green dot at the top. It shows sync here. If this is a restart, not your first time starting, chances are your reactor will come out at 3060. Just being at 3060 does not mean it's ready. You will need to slow down the RPM, get the dot wherever it's at back to, or you can speed it up either way, but get the dot back to the top, then go back to 3060 so that you can close it while it's in sync. So the RPM number doesn't matter. Well, it does, but the green dot at the top has to also be lit up. When it's at 3060, that's when you'll get the sync light and you can close the circuit breaker. So hopefully this has been helpful for a restart. Simple idea. It just goes a little bit faster once you've started up, shut down, and now you're restarting. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If there are any suggestions for me, a more efficient way to do this, please let me know. I always love to learn new ideas. Otherwise, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again soon. I am Leonidas.